Okay, let's get started. I'd like to welcome everyone to our webinar today for MSPs, Managed Service Providers, to show them how they can avoid extinction in the new digital world with IQ Cloud. We will show you how to survive, thrive, and monetize with us. Start out by introducing the panel. My name is Parker Hathcock. I'm the Director of Product Marketing here at iQuate. I'd like to start by introducing Fred Johannesson. He has had a pretty long and decorated career building extensive alliances at BMC Software, Ivanti, and Science Logic. Recently, he was CEO of a startup focused on the performance acceleration space. Fred is a thought leader, and he's built thriving user communities and ecosystems worldwide. He's published and has a patent as well. I'd also like to introduce Jihad El-Assad, who's our VP of Product. Jihad has had a lot of experience in the IT service management software space, building exceptional solutions. He's worked at ITscape, ServiceNow, and BMC Software as a GM and country manager. He has his incredible experience is a lot of what we draw upon here for our IQ Cloud solution. So we'll start with Fred, I think, and get sort of a look at the market opportunity here for MSPs and for everyone. It's growing by leaps and bounds, and Fred is a great observer of this market. Let us know, Fred, what do you see happening right now?
Yeah, thanks, Parker. Yeah, first off, let me say welcome also, and I think you'll find in this presentation and demo that why I am so excited about the partnering opportunity around our IQ Cloud product. And what you'll see here is, you see 70% of enterprise cloud enterprises are going to the cloud, in a very short term. All of them have hybrid cloud strategies going on, or environments already going on. So there's a lot of opportunity there. And the thing is, if you don't have a cloud migration practice, you're missing out on a big opportunity because you're going to have a lot of equipment and software moving to the cloud. And if you do have a cloud migration practice, then I think it's important that you take a look at IQ Cloud because it can help you accelerate those migrations. Because at the end of the day, cloud computing is going, it's in its second decade. People are doing it. It's a very dynamic environment. And it's something that you can't miss out on, because if you as a MSP miss out on this opportunity, it's going to go away and go to someone else. So anyway, I see it more as a opportunity than a negative. And so let's move on to see how you can gain a competitive advantage with IQ Cloud.
It's a big opportunity, but I think it's sort of like a hot potato that people have moved to their alliance partners, their managed service providers, because there are a lot of challenges, right? And I think, Jihad, maybe you can start talking about, what are some of the problems that people are facing with this. It's a technical issue. A lot of them are technical issues, right?
Yeah, thank you, Parker. Mm-hmm. So we've listened to a lot of our customers. We've worked with many partners, many customers, enterprises. And obviously, traditional tools today, they can only cover, the way they've done these migration is using these traditional tools, meaning they can only do it at the server level, workload level. And then if they want to do it at the application or the business application, then there's a lot of manual work involved. And this is where we listen to our customers, and we understanding what are the business, what are the application. We understand the complexity of these applications nowadays, being using serverless, using containers, using virtualization, and so forth. And this is why we built this product that can enable you to cover, first of all, to be able to discover and map all these business applications, so that, when you do your migration, you can do it more smart, more intelligently from the application and not from the workload perspective. And this is really what the product is servicing all these customers that we have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and, let me just add to that, because really, the way it's done today is very inaccurate, right? You as an MSP, if you're working on cloud migrations, you got out-of-date CMDBs, you have to do a lot of customer interviews, and it adds a lot of risk into the process, not just from a migration, but also from a managing of that ongoing hybrid environment. And then really what the customers care about, the bottom line for them is, Are their business services available? Do they perform well? And can they recover that business service? So, we think that with a product like IQ Cloud, you can really be assured that you can provide that capability across that environment.
Right. So MSPs now have this great responsibility, right? And it's so our technology, IQ Cloud, is a great way for MSPs to build in that feature, that capability. So, Jihad, tell us how that works and give us a little insight into how that actually works.
Absolutely. So again, these environments, these applications are always very dynamic. So they use serverless, so meaning a server can spin up and down within a matter of few minutes. So what we have built is an architecture that is highly scalable, highly extensible, and it's a cloud-based architecture. So in the sense that our customers, when they want to discover, they don't need to set up anything. It's very easy, very seamless. What they have to do is set up some collectors. We call them these virtual appliances that collects all the information, send them back securely to the cloud. And then the way we analyze all the data and we provide whatever is needed. So the way these customers can consume the data either via a certain integration to their IT vendors, CMDB via CMDB, or they can use the native application via a web browser. So again, this architecture that we've built is very fast, service-centric. Not that we don't care about the infrastructure, but we care about the infrastructure and how it supports the application. It is a single architecture. UI is very, very easy to use. And then the data, we have abundant amount of data so that technical or manager can use the product and be able to make sense out of the data. And of course, again, we support physical, virtual, and cloud environment, and it's an agentless technology.
Right, so this could save a lot of time and effort for MSPs. You could provide a lot of great services based on the information you get from this without much actual manual effort, right? This is looks like a great design for a business, Fred.
No, exactly, Parker. And the thing here is what we at iQuate are here to do is help you accelerate revenue growth. And the thing there is the quicker you can get to execution of the migrations and ongoing management of their environments, then you're gonna get to recurring revenue faster. You're gonna be right in the middle of what's important to your customers, so they're gonna stay with you for the long term. And then at the end of the day, since you have a platform here that you can build additional services on, then you can do things like optimize your margins. And we have, with this technology, you can reduce that time and risk. You keep things up to date in real time, which is an important aspect of managing these hybrid cloud environments. So, and then, we also have a program that's going to enable you to go to market very quickly. So we're not hooked on iQuate being at the center of the branding. We want you to use your own brand with your customers and enhance those services. So we'll give you rebrandable product, rebrandable collateral, and of course, we'll give you technical and marketing assistance to help you expand your market opportunity.
That's awesome. Well, I'd love to see how this would actually work. Jihad, could you show us a brief demo of how the technology works, how easy it is to use and set up?
Sure, we'll be more than happy. So
great.
What I'm going to do is actually, we will show quickly what the product does without going into much into depth and show how we can use it in terms of migration. So here I'm going to log into a demo environment that we can view. But before I can show you the data, the only thing that I'd like to mention is, assuming that you have set up the work, just on the discovery job. So of course, when you set up a scan job so that you can discover your environment, your application, what I'd like to really mention here is that we provide a lot of scan types, unlike traditional tools where they go bottom up or few of them might go top down. So we provide all these tiers. So for instance, here, if you see sequential, this is what it means. We are doing a bottom-up type of discovery. So we're starting from the infrastructure into all the app and then bubble up into the application. But also we can support the application type of discovery. In this case, you can start from a single IP and then drill down into the application. Now we went even further beyond, top down and bottom up and do the middle out. We call it the neighborhood discovery, which is really, and give you an example, it's a hybrid approach between the sequential and the application. And to give you an example, so for instance, if you have a database server and you want to find out all the applications that are supporting this database server, then, this will be able to give you this view. So using this tool for the cloud migration, let's view a little bit some of the data. And if I'm going to look at some of the application, because at the end of the day, what you care about is you want to migrate these applications. Of course, you want to migrate workloads, but you want to make sure that what you're migrating is related to a single application. So if I go to the application view here, and for instance, give you an example, one application, what we can do is provide you an application that gives you the view, what we call the dependency. So you know exactly how this application is made, all the technology that this application support, all the servers, where it's hosted. Now, this happens to be an AWS application. So let me go to an application, give you another example, an application that is on-prem. It's called the online reservation system. And as you can see here, all the technology that support this application, where they're hosted on which VM, and then we can see the guest host relationship. So this view will enable you to decide how you can migrate this application to the cloud, whether you're using a data center transformation or cloud migration. But this is not just enough. Also, we provide you also the communication view, because you want to be able to find out how these component supports other application perhaps. For instance, one server may be supporting multiple application or one application, so you want to understand all these communications so that when you do the migration, you're not breaking any other system in the interim. So here I can zoom in, for instance, I can find out these are all the components that support this application that we're talking about, but what about these components that are not supporting? So if I zoom in here, for instance, I can find out, all these IP addresses that are not part of the application that are communicating to my HA proxy in this case. But again, this is just to give you a high-level view, not to drill down into, and we want you to come back and give you an in-depth demo on how you can use the system. Anyway, that's. I'm not gonna go further. So let me just go back to the.
Well, that's fantastic, Shahad. Thank you so much. As you were going through that, I just see all the opportunities. They say knowledge is power, and that might be the best way for MSPs to avoid the possible extinction if they can't deal with the cloud requirements of their customers. But I can already see how very quickly you can get information to provide all kinds of services to customers, right?
Absolutely. That's the idea, is to provide you, to give you all the information at your whenever you want it, and then you can make sense of this information in order to do the migration.
Yeah. So Fred, how have you seen our customers use this? I see there's some examples here.
Yeah, you have some good examples here. So really with IQ Cloud, you get a platform for building on your current practices. So for example, easy one is business continuity and disaster recovery, right? Can you transform from being a infrastructure-oriented DR to be an application or service-centric DR, which can provide tremendously greater value to your end customers, right? And so it's not just building one, but actually building, you start with what makes sense for you and your practice today. And that's based on, customer need, market opportunity, a bunch of factors, and we'd be happy to work with you to help identify those. And then you start with that, and then you build on afterwards. And, you gain more and more expertise and get a tighter relationship with your end customer. So in our current presentation here, we've been focused on cloud migration, but you can see there's a whole bunch of other things that you can get involved with and enhance your service offerings.
Right. And I know our program is designed both from a technical standpoint and from a business standpoint to work with customers over time, right? To map to their maturity and also to the relationship between the MSP.
Yeah, and so this is just an example of, you can start with something like cloud migration and then start adding those additional services. And what we do for you is, take a given customer, you purchase on their behalf a certain number of licenses of IQ Cloud to help you, for example, with the cloud migration. Well, those same licenses can then be used also for software asset management or, ongoing CMDB, updating. So it really allows you then to maximize that investment that you and your customers have made in iQuake. So we think that that's a win-win approach for you and for us and for the customers.
Mm-hmm.
That is exactly.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead, Parker.
No, I was going to ask, and how does that map to their technical maturity as well? I mean, that's this also fits that, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's exactly. So, in the demo, I only showed one part of the product, but of course, what we have done is we built on top of it additional features so that once you have completed the migration, you're up and running, and then you can manage your application on a daily basis. For instance, manage all the drift that happened, because we know that applications are very important. You need to make sure that they are always up and running, and if there's any problems, find out where the problems happen. Usually it's mainly related to a change. And this is what we have done, is built this capability in being able to manage all these drifts across in time, past the discovery and past the migration.
That's fantastic. So, Fred, I suppose we built a business model here that's also adaptable for our clients, so they can use this technology in different ways depending upon what they do with their customers.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we have a couple of licensing methods that we can offer you to, one, to get started, you may want to work with us on one customer engagement to kind of prove out the model that we have. And so we can provide a single, licenses for a single project for a single customer. And with that, those are 3-month terms. And beyond that, even under the project license, we have what I'd call a flexible consumption method, where you can say, okay, I want to get volume-based discounts, so I'm going to purchase, a tranche or a group of licenses that I'll consume over time. So you get, licenses then that you can optimize your margins on and use them on different projects on a single use. Once they're used on a project, they're consumed. Then once your practice gets moving and off the ground, we offer 12-month term licenses, which gives significant discounts, starting at 40% and beyond. Based on, again, we have, volume discounting with it. And with that model, beyond just allowing you to then tier your services, you can transfer those licenses across customers. So you can get a tremendous level of optimization where you get a lot quicker payback, on those licenses than with the project. I call the project model more a la carte, where this is more, hey, we're partners, we're going to market together, and you're ready to go, and you get a tremendous ROI, on that model there. You can use it for multiple customers, multiple project services, and so on. And you're beyond that, once you commit to that annual subscription, now you get that same rate locked in if you have to overflow or into doing projects where you require more licenses than you purchase under the annual subscription. So it really feeds itself to where you can get, tremendous revenues and margins on top of that.
Sounds like a great program. You guys have thought this through from the technology and the business standpoint. That's terrific. Fantastic. We've got a few questions that have come in from the audience. If you guys are ready, I've got just a few questions here. We've got a little bit of time left. Let me see here. The first question we've got is, how does IQ Cloud export the data or integrate the data into other tools, or how can I do that? How can I export that data from IQ Cloud into other tools or my own apps? Do you have some examples of how that can be used? Yeah, that's a good question. So what we do is we expose our data, and these can be done via a REST API, meaning the data is readily available, and they can be exported via our API. And of course, we have some integrations that are as well, baked into the product.
So if you have certain CMDBs, for instance, ServiceNow CMDB, you could export the data into your CMDB and then consume the data via all these ITSM functions.
Wow, that sounds great. Let's see, another question here from the audience. How does IQ Cloud look at or detect network communications?
So unlike other tools that you can find in the market, some of the tools that they use sniffing technology, deep packet inspections, etc. What we do is we don't try to do these things. So what we do is really we look into all the incoming and outgoing communication on every server, and this is how we analyze all the data from every server, all the data that we collect from every server. And then we extract the noise or filter out the noise and able to provide you with all these views that you've seen in the demo, whether the dependency map or the communication view. But definitely, this is how we do it. That's
awesome. I've got a question here from a large MSP person from an MSP asking, how much time does this automated discovery and service mapping save a typical MSP at the beginning of, say, a cloud migration or a transformation project? Do you have any examples of that, or how much time and effort does this save in general? I think it might be for Fred.
Fred, I think, yeah.
Yeah, I'll take that. Yeah, in fact, we have a recent example where a partner of ours, had a project that they would normally have scoped at as 2 months to do the complete discovery process, for their customer's environment. And they were tasked, by their customer to set up basically service-centric DR for them. So that 2-month project now was taken down, 2-month discovery process, is a larger project than that. But they took the discovery part of the process from 2 months down to 2 weeks and were able to then get their customer moving towards a true service-centric DR, from that point, after that 2-week period. So it was a tremendous savings and also a tremendous reduction in risk because, as those environments can change, so the longer it takes to do the discovery, the more chance there is that, that environment has changed. So the quicker you get it done, the more accurate it's going to be. And then you can, of course, with us, get close to real time, updates on your configuration. So it's always up to date.
Right. So it looks like we have sort of a game changer here with the way people can prepare for disaster recovery or any sort of transformational endeavor, right? And the old method that I'm familiar with is what I call the shotgun method, right, where we just back up everything or try to get information from individual people and hope for the best, right? I mean, this looks like it's in great detail and very quickly, and that's going to change a lot of the way people work, right? I think, Jihad, is that correct? Or?
Yeah, that's exactly. I mean, this is what we're making other tools smarter by using our tools, because this is where we're providing them the definition of these business application, and this is what every company wants to do is manage the business application. Whether you want to migrate, whether you want to do disaster recovery, whether you want to monitor, you always want to do it at the business application level and not worry anymore about the infrastructure. And even when you migrate to the cloud, this whole infrastructure layer is abstracted. So really everything is at the end of the day about the business application.
Well, that's awesome. I think that might be all the questions we've got time for today. So let's move along and see what are the next steps. I mean, I think I've actually seen that question pop up. So let's see what are the next steps, guys, with what our customers can do.
Fred, do you want to take this?
I'll cover that, and if you want to progress the slide there, Jihad. But really, the first thing to do is to schedule a deep dive with us. I think you've seen today we've talked about cloud migration, cloud management, DR. Even things like how about from your service desk perspective, if you're able to drill down into root causes, rather than days, reduce that to hours or minutes, So we think that there's plenty of ways that you can enhance your practices, which enhances your value to your customers. So the first thing to do, let's do a deep dive with you. And then from there, let's do a proof of concept. And that can be, an internal proof of concept with you, or we can jointly engage a customer so we can prove it out with that customer. We think that you'd be very happy with that process, and then from there want to join the program. So we do things a little bit differently. We think it's important to prove yourself, to show it first. We're not all from Missouri, but we believe in showing, jointly with you that this does work. And then from there, let's execute the program once we've kind of proven it out. And then we'll accelerate, your revenues and also our joint success with your customers. So anyway, we're excited about working with you. I think you can hear how excited I am about partnering and the partnering opportunity around iQuate. And, please contact us and let's get to that next step.
Absolutely. And Jihad, I think if you can move to the next slide, we've got Fred's information on there. There we go.
Yep.
With an outline of our next steps. Again, this sounds like a great plan to keep MSPs out of extinction and in business for the future. Please feel free to contact us directly on this and see how we can help. Thanks very much to everybody with the questions. Thanks everybody on our panel. I appreciate all your work and hope you have a great day.